Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a gas line leak in one central Kentucky county has prompted those to evacuate. And the Trump and Harris campaigns barnstorm the battlegrounds.
And we had temperatures today in the 90s, and that warming trend will continue. Details in a few minutes.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
A nice Tuesday switcheroo for you. Good evening. I'm Madison Carmouche. Part of a downtown area in a central Kentucky town was closed after a gas line break. It happened this afternoon in Lawrenceburg in Anderson County. Dozens of people were told to leave the area as a precaution. Most of Main Street in the downtown area was closed between Court Street and East Woodford. More than 200 people were told to leave businesses, homes, and the courthouse.
We follow industrial standards and our local policies and procedures, so that's the reason why we evacuated, just as precaution, because the gas is filling up in some of the buildings.
Atmos Energy was working to repair the line, and we are told the delay in reopening the area was due to the ordering of a replacement part. No one was hurt in either the incident or the evacuation. 2 Delta Airlines workers are dead and another injured after a tire exploded at the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. It happened inside of a maintenance facility earlier today. An airport spokesperson confirmed the incident happened on Delta property. Operations at the airport were not impacted. It is unclear what caused the tire to explode. An investigation is underway. Kentucky Representative Beverly Chester Burton was arrested early this morning in Jefferson County on DUI and reckless driving charges. Representative Chester Burton represents District 44. That encompasses the Shively area where the arrest reportedly happened. After pulling her over, an arrest citation states police smelled alcohol after she got out of the vehicle. She was taken to the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections.
Well, as advertised, temperatures today were in the low to mid 90s. Heat indices across portions of the area in the upper 90s. Take a look here outside right now. Big swath of 90s stretching from Ashland to Prestonsburg to Jackson, Hazard, Somerset, Monticello, then Harlan down to Jacksboro, seeing some 90s. That feels like temperature. Look at Monticello, 97 degrees, 96 in Ashland, 92 Moorhead, as well as Jackson. Irvin's checking in with 93. Hazard, good afternoon. You're at 89. 84 is the current temperature in Wise. And we do have a heat advisory in effect. This is for Wayne County in West Virginia. Again, Wayne County in West Virginia. Heat advisory until tomorrow at 8 p.m. All is quiet on live pinpoint Doppler radar right now, and this will get a break as we go throughout the next several hours, and for the most part tomorrow. Maybe a stray shower or two, but for the most part, the majority of us will stay clear. Midnight, look at that temperature, 78 degrees, 72 by 6 a.m. When you wake up in the morning to join Madison tomorrow morning, we'll see temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s. I'll have your complete first alert forecast in a few minutes. Madison.
All righty, Eric, thank you. A federal judge has temporarily blocked a landmark effort by the Biden administration to offer 500,000 undocumented immigrants who are married to American citizens a path to U.S. citizenship. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
When President Biden announced his executive action in June, he called it a common-sense fix for undocumented immigrants married to American citizens.
This action is a better way. It doesn't tear families apart while requiring every undocumented spouse to fulfill their obligations under the law.
But today, the program is on pause after a federal judge in Texas temporarily blocked it. It followed a lawsuit by 16 states with Republican attorneys general. President Biden's policy allowed unauthorized immigrants to apply for temporary work permits and have deportation protections if they're married to a U.S. citizen and have lived in this country for at least 10 years.
They are members of the community, contributing both economically and in the job market. So it's an unfortunate setback for them and for the administration.
Musafir Chishti is a senior fellow with the Migration Policy Institute. He describes the challenges those spouses had faced under congressional law.
They're supposed to leave the country and get their green card from traveling abroad. So that's obviously a huge inconvenience and separates families.
President Biden introduced the policy after a separate executive action he announced to limit asylum seekers at the southern border. That was met by major pushback from progressives.
In the absence of congressional action, the border remains a top election issue.
We will seal the border, stop the invasion, and launch the largest deportation effort in American history.
While this latest challenge plays out in the courts, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed Tuesday the agency will continue accepting applications for Biden's spousal policy, but it had stopped approving cases. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The judge made his order valid for 2 weeks, but suggested he could extend it. Both sides have until October 10th to file briefs in the case. The Trump and Harris campaigns squared off over the economy today, with both sides saying they will make homes more affordable for everyone, but especially younger Americans. And now there may be a new deal guaranteeing a presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. CBS's Skylar Henry has more details from Washington.
Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance rallied with voters in the battleground state of Michigan Tuesday.
Michigan is going red.
Vance focused on the economy and inflation.
You talk to a young person today, young people cannot afford to buy a home in their own country. We're turning a generation of 20 and 30-year-olds into permanent debtors.
Vice President Kamala Harris is also talking about the economy with a new ad focusing on affordable housing.
My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was.
Harris's plan calls for building 3 million housing units in 4 years with new tax credits for builders targeting first-time home buyers and $25,000 in tax credits for the buyers.
Harris has been off the campaign trail and has been reportedly using that time to prepare for the September 10th presidential debate.
I want to do debates.
Former President Trump says he's ready for the debate. He posted on social media Tuesday that he has come to an agreement with the Harris campaign on the rules for the debate. He says it will be the same rules as the previous Trump-Biden debate. The Harris campaign wanted to change the rules so that the candidates' mics are left open the entire time, as opposed to the Biden-Trump debate when they were only on when it was the candidate's turn to speak. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Trump also says the Harris campaign has not agreed to a proposed debate on Fox News on September 4th. Both sides say they may be open to a second debate in October. Special counsel Jack Smith has filed a superseding indictment in the election interference case against former President Donald Trump. The move slims down the claims against the 2024 presidential nominee in light of the Supreme Court's immunity ruling. In July, the Supreme Court found presidents are immune from criminal prosecution for official acts while in office. An environmental group is calling for an investigation into a recently resurfaced fishtail about former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy's daughter shared a story with a magazine in 2012 detailing how her dad used a chainsaw to cut off the head of a whale carcass that was washed up on the shore of the family's home in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. The story appeared to resurface on social media following tabloids reporting on her last week. Texas Senator Ted Cruz has officially opened his Dallas-Fort Worth campaign office. Dallas is the hometown of Cruz's Democratic opponent, Representative Colin Allred. Cruz is a two-term Republican and vying for his third term in office. A number of supporters and elected leaders joined Cruz for the opening of his headquarters. The Kentucky Rural Water Association is hosting their 45th annual conference in Lexington this week. It brings 900 water professionals across the Commonwealth together to face problems like wastewater and drinking water quality. The theme for this year's conference is Changes Ahead.
We got to make sure that our water treatment plants and our wastewater treatment plants have the capacity to meet the future needs of the communities, the future needs of growth for Kentucky. We have to be dynamic in our model of where we're going and not be static and get left behind.
The conference is also hosting fun events like the Best Tasting Water competition and a water meter competition. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, 30% of those with student loans said in a survey that college was not worth the money spent. Strategies to help you pay off that debt.
And in the world of weather, temperatures will be in the mid-90s for the next couple of days, but rain chances are also in the forecast. Details in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes.